Hey crew, I've got the key. Oh, yeah, that's me. To this 21 Jaguar F-Pace SVR. We are going to take it for a drive, but first, let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. There are a lot of changes for the 21 model year. I'll do my best to point them out as we make our way around. They include this larger grille with this gunmetal gray trim. We'll see that in a few places. Got your SVR badge there. Updated LED headlights and daytime running light designs. This trim connects in the lower fascia into that front air dam, which is functional like the grille and like the inlets on the side. All functional ventilation because you need that cooling for the 5-liter supercharged V8 engine. Also functional are these heat extractors on the hood in that same trim color. I wish it wasn't a gray day. In fact, it's been raining all morning. That's why the vehicle's kind of filthy. Because then this paint job from SVO, their specialty vehicle operations unit, the Ultra Metallic, it's like a copperish plum, would really sparkle in the sunlight. It's $4,500. 22-inch optional wheels look like they'd cut you if you touch them. They're wrapped in Pirelli P0, great tires, 265 section front, 295 section in the rear. See your red painted 2-piece front calipers with 15.5-inch front rotors, the same size in the rear. They've added some functional aerodynamics here for 21 behind the front wheels. This is functional as well, pulling out the turbulent moving air from the wheel arches. Optional black painted roof rails go great with the black painted window trim. Stepping back to appreciate the profile because this is a sleek looking SUV. Got the gunmetal gray trim around the wheel arches and on that side sill. Those wheels, man, they kind of shock you. I don't know if they go with the cohesive body language. At the back, we've got some updated LED taillight designs in this wave pattern. And up here, on the roof-mounted spoiler, they've added this sort of, it looks like an afterthought. It's an extension for the spoiler. Same aerodynamic design here as behind the front wheels. The diffuser has not been changed for 21. It still has this quad exhaust system jutting out, getting your attention. It's a handsome SUV. But now let's look at the interior. Opening up and looking inside at this light oyster colored semi-aniline leather seating. That is a beautiful color contrast to this exterior. And even the rear seat designs are cool because you got these broad bolsters and Jaguar on the pass-through and this quilted pattern that's not just here, it's on the front seat backs. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. And it levels up this cabin for me. Meridian surround sound system is an option with metal speaker covers. All about that textured door trim. Thickly padded leather armrests here with one-touch windows. If you want to get in the back, you got to kind of lift your leg high over that sill. But the doors open nice and wide. Suede on the pillars and on the headliner is standard. Panoramic glass roof is standard with an opening. This is me behind my own driving position at 6 feet tall. You can see I've got knee room. I've got probably 2.5 inches of it. The foot pockets are nice and tall to slide my feet under. 4-zone climate control is an option with a hot climate pack, and you've got 2 USB-C ports and a DC socket. Armrest comes down with cup holders. Oh, this leather feels so good. My head does clear the roof too, so I'm going to say 4 6-footers could fit in here, no problem. We'll look at the front now. Good solid sound of that door close. It's just a very mature looking cabin. And the quality of the materials it's high end here. Got SVR embossed on the headrest there. Heating and ventilation for these front seats. SVR tread plates. I'll open up that trunk for you. And this is really where the F-Pace adds so much value over its compact SUV rivals because it has legitimate cargo space in the trunk. Spare tire under there. If you want to fold down these seats, you can do so 60-40, or actually it's 40-20-40, and you press those tabs in there. Hopping back in the front now. Look at this. Deep dish pizza of a steering wheel. Thickly padded, leather wrapped, textured border, aluminum paddles, nice actuation. This digital instrument cluster is reconfigurable. You get a suede wrapping for this part of the dashboard. Head-up display is an option. For 21, you get this 11.4-inch curved display, touchscreen operating the new POV Pro software, faster, better resolution, more intuitive layout. Wireless smartphone charging pad down here is an option. For 21, this whole area has been redesigned. This roll back, you got some more storage space, DC socket, SVR on the gear selector here. Your drive mode selector pops up from here and you turn it. Exhaust button. This is just a beautiful, well put together cabin. I'm excited to drive it. Let's hit it. Oh, and a good morning to you, Supercharged V8. That's how I want to start my day. You can see Apple CarPlay here has taken over the whole screen. Nice and responsive. And now let's look at the surround view camera system before we start moving. Hit this button here. You got the 3D view, so you can check out your vehicle from the outside. And look, turn on your turn signals. You can see them there on the screen. Look at that. And you can jog to any camera angle around the car or just keep tapping the arrow to do the full rotation. Make sure you're perfectly in the center of the space. Thank you. And we'll start in comfort drive mode, so you don't have to do anything. You start up the vehicle, you're automatically going to be in comfort. Going to the left will take you to dynamic. Screen goes red. Going to the right, take you to eco. One more will take you to snow. We're not going to need that today. It's wet, but it's not snow wet. So let's go to comfort. Pull back on the drive mode selector, on the gear selector, to take you to drive, and away we go. And let's do a quick turning radius test here. See if the F-Pace can do it from the front camera angle view. Make sure we don't hit that. Yes, we're good there. And we're good there. Pretty tidy. So, let's talk about that engine. 5-liter supercharged V8 that makes 550 horsepower, same amount of output as the 2020 model year. Still got a little bit of rain on the dash. But it now makes 516 horsepower, which is 14 pound-feet more. The 0 to 60 time is 4.1 seconds if you use launch control. And we'll have a chance to do that at some point during our drive. I know we will. Top speed, 178 miles per hour, is the highest in this little gang of super compact SUVs. Did you like that exhaust noise? I definitely did, and that was in comfort mode, for goodness sakes. And I'm not leaving these windshield wipers in auto mode because the wipers themselves, when they're not on a super slick surface with water, kind of chunk along the windshield. It makes an awful noise. So we're just going to do it ad hoc here. Now, just cruising casually on a smooth road like this, the ride quality is great. The seat comfort is okay. I think there could be more padding to these seats. The leather feels fantastic, and the bolstering, the shape of the seat is good for my body type. If I were wider, I don't know if they would work quite as well, but they work for my body type. Is that a Z8? Look at that. Z8, hello. Ooh, with that blue and cream colored interior. sorry, this is a review of the F-Pace SVR. Back to this one. Yeah, so seat comfort, I think there could be more padding here. The seats themselves feel a bit firm. And unfortunately, that doesn't help when the suspension starts to feel firm on bumpier stuff. Perfectly smooth roads, you're good. But because this doesn't have an air suspension system and the way the dampers are tuned, they're not quite as forgiving over rougher roads. So the ride quality does get harsher. Now, let's go into dynamic mode. So you click the drive mode selector to the left and we're in dynamic. And then I can pull the gear selector down. And now we're in sport mode. Pulling a paddle enters manual mode. Oh. Oh yeah. Oh. Oh. Need a minute. Goodness. Goodness. That soundtrack is incredible. And the shifts are quick. This ZF8 speed is a torque converter automatic. It's not a dual clutch, but it shifts like a dual clutch. I can't even say it. It shifts like a dual clutch. It's quick. It feels like it's already primed up the next gear, alternating like a dual clutch, but it hasn't. It's just in a sequential order, but it's a quick transmission. And the snarl, the vicious snarl when you upshift is intoxicating. Heaven help me, that's a great soundtrack. This is the kind of audio profile we are thoroughly going to miss when we're fully electric. And indeed, that's the way JLR is heading, and most of the automotive industry. So this vehicle and its 5-liter supercharged V8 is something of a swan song. It's already been phased out on this vehicle's sibling, stay in your lane, sir or madam, the Range Rover Velar SV Autobiography Dynamic. That one's already gone. It was just a 2020 model year vehicle. So this is a special vehicle for the soundtrack, for the rarity. And just how the note changes and develops beyond 4,500 is exquisite. What a soundtrack. And if you're in sport mode, it will stay in manual mode when you pull a paddle. If you're in drive mode, then even if you pull a paddle, it'll just do so temporarily until you stop using them, and then it will go back to normal drive. Now we'll go to, and that's, when you go in dynamic mode, it opens up the baffles and the exhaust automatically. You could do that at any time by hitting this exhaust button. Let's go back to comfort mode to talk about some of the driver assistance features. To activate the driver aids, we're going to hit this button here, which at first is a limiter, so it will limit the speed that you can achieve in the vehicle. But if you hit it again, it's your adaptive cruise control system, and then we'll just press up on this toggle here to set it. And then you've got your adaptive cruise working. You can set your following distance, set it at just 1, and then we'll turn on the lane keep assist. And this is not a lane centering assist system like some of the more sophisticated driver assistance technologies out there offered by some of the rivals. It's just a lane keep assist, so I'll show you a deliberate deviation from the lane, and there we go. It won't let me go over, it'll correct me, but it's not going to correct me in center. It'll just correct me such that if the road curved again, it would push me to the left side of the lane or back to the right side. And A critique of the adaptive cruise control system, based on how I've used it in low-speed traffic, it doesn't seem like it's fully aware of the surroundings, such that if a car comes in, even at lower speeds, it won't really register that car until it's right in front of you. So you're like on top of the car by the time the system is braking to allow for that gap to be consistent. So there's some work that needs to be done to the driver aids in the F-Pace SVR. It is nice that they're standard, but I'd like some tweaks for intuitive use. Then we'll move it back over to eco mode, which should quell that V8 volume to the greatest extent and kill the throttle response, which it does so in almost a welcome way if you're trying to, one, drive this vehicle as fuel efficiently as possible. It only gets 18 combined mpg, which is worse than its competitors, but also if you're trying to drive it as smoothly as possible. Because even in comfort mode, if you press just a little too far past the threshold of the throttle, it'll kind of like start the car, get it all excited, which is great. But if you really want the smoothest ride, it's eco mode for you, because it just has that lazy throttle response. Lazy, but never lax, in that you always have 550 horsepower at your disposal. So that is eco mode. But because we're at a red light and because we need to do launch control still, I'm going to take it back over to dynamic, and then I will kick the gear selector down to sport. Even in dynamic mode and sport, it doesn't turn the start-stop system off. So you can hit the settings button, and then you can turn auto start-stop off. Well, that had a delay. That was interesting. And then for launch mode in the F-Pace SVR, it's really very simple. If you're in the sport drive selection, or gear selection, and you're in dynamic mode, you just hold your foot hard on the brake, and you make sure that you give it full throttle. Now dynamic launch ready, let go, launches you at 2,000. Oh. There's no way that's over 4 seconds. There is no way that is over 4 seconds to 60. Damp roads, that had to be high 3 seconds. That was absurdly quick. Love the way it looks on the outside, love the way it looks on the inside. The seat comfort could be improved. 85 grand is on the higher end of its segment. When you think about Macan Turbo Performance, that's actually more expensive with that package. It's 87, but then all the other ones, the Stelvio Quad 82, BMW X3M Competition is 77, GLC 43 I think is 74. So, I mean, this is definitely on the higher end. Is it worth that extra money? If you value how it looks, and you value that soundtrack, and you value the cabin refinement. Is it the one I would choose? I don't know. I probably would end up going with that Stelvio Quadrifoglio, just because it is blistering performance all the time, and I would be swooned by that for sure. But I'm gonna miss the Supercharged V8s when JLR goes all electric in the near future here. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed these POV drive impressions in the 21 S-Pace SVR, and I will see you again next time. Start stops down here.